Oh, what's up, everybody? It's your friend Cheap Ludes. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Straight up, I do. I am having an okay evening. Honestly, I've been playing Unlimited for the last like 3 hours, and this game brings it out of me, man. I was actually in a pretty good mood during stream, though. Shout out to everybody who's come and hung out in the streams for the last like 3 to 4 days. I mean, period, but specifically the last like 3 to 4 days. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone who's like super chatted or subscribed or donated. If you want to donate, you can do so in the description. There's the donation link. That's what's up. Self promo over. Let's talk about the cooking set. One of the most frequently asked questions in the stream is how much is it going to cost to lock in for Steph Curry? Now, obviously, quick answer, a lot. But a specific answer is harder to come by because we really don't know like what exactly we're going to be needing to lock in at this point. Like so far, we've seen 5 total emeralds, which will cost about 35,000 MT, and then 1 sapphire. Tomorrow, we're going to be getting another emerald, another sapphire, and our first ruby. Now, the one thing I'm actually kind of curious about is, are the packs going to cost 4,000 MT for the remainder of like the cooking's lifespan? I don't know. Past dealings with 2K would say probably not. They're going to scale up and go up in price, but if they stay at 4,000, 37.8, and 75.6, like, honestly, that's kind of cool. And I'll probably do a pack opening towards the end, actually. I might do my first pack opening of the year if they stay at 4,000 MT per pack. Honestly, I probably will. Now, obviously, that means the odds are going to be terrible. We know that. The odds haven't exactly been friendly regardless, but they're going to be even worse if like this happens. That's just my own personal opinion, but all we must do is look at Shaq. Shaq was very, very expensive to lock in for. Obviously, I mean, it cost you per set. I mean, you were looking at like 300,000 MT realistically. Like, I'm not going to try to do the math here, but this is 140K just for Steve Francis and Jerry Lucas, not even counting everybody else, for just one set. So, I mean, obviously, it's going to be super duper expensive, but you could grind for some of them. So, I don't know, whatever. I would look more towards Tracy McGrady because it was like 280, 420. Oh, man. Plus Kyle Korver, about 490. Yeah, I mean, it was about 500K for just McGrady, right? Like, over 500K. So I would guess. Now, Shaq is going to get just a tiny bit more affordable. I say that with air quotes. Come Friday, because the first 4 sets that we had. So this Legendary Path Dame set, 2K Day 1, 2K Day 2, and 2K Day 3 are all going to go down in price. Now, I don't know what these cards are actually going to cost come Friday, but 2K has said that after 3 weeks, cards will go down in value in the player market. So I'd be kind of curious to see. I would say my most optimistic take is they're going to be half as expensive as they were before, right? That's my most charitable. I feel like it's probably still going to be more than that, even probably 40% less, as opposed to half. And I think some people point to the 50% because we have a 60% tax. So if you lower it by 50%, then all of a sudden there's a 10% tax. But it's not like they couldn't, like, you know, negate the tax or change it. Just make it whatever percent of like whatever the card costs. So I don't think that has a whole lot to do with it. It'd be interesting if they did that, but I think it's just likely they'll describe, or not describe, but like pick a random amount, I would guess. I mean, I'm sure they have like a set amount, but it'll still be random at the end of the day. Like, instead of Andre Iguodala being 70,000, he'll be like 46.8 or something. Like, that is my prediction. I hope to be wrong about that. If it was just a flat 35, that would be, I mean, ideally it would be less since they're 3-week-old cards, but you know, whatever. So we'll see. We'll see, I suppose, and we'll kind of go from there. But looking at the cooking set in general, I would say T-Mac is probably like the best indicator for what we're dealing with as far as price-wise. Right now, it's about, how much is Canby? Canby 16.8. So right now, it's about 51,000. It's about 51.8. So 51,800 MT right now just to get all the cards that have been released. We got 3 new cards today. Shout out to Steve Novak. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, another self-promo, you should do that. I do card breakdowns every single day that they release cards. They're not just breakdowns in the sense of like, ooh, this card's good because he does this, this, and this. I like to throw fun facts and humorous musings in there as well. Shout out to Steve Novak. He's a member of the Bucks G League affiliate announcement crew, but not the Knicks for some reason. That seems highly disrespectful considering that's where he had the best moments of his career, but whatever. What do I know? Steve Novak's okay. He's just going to shoot threes and be tall. He's basically, depending what you're looking at, either worse or better Keith Van Horn. I don't know what to tell you there. We also got, Marcus Camby. So there's that. Like, Marcus Camby's here. Shout out to Marcus Camby. What did I learn about him today? He has cannabis possession charges. Lit. He started a children's charity with what I can only describe as the worst name. He called it Camby Land. I'm going to be honest. When you start a children's charity, avoiding anything that sounds like Candyland or as an analog for Candyland, is it a solid advisement? I just don't think that necessarily works out. Also learned he punched Danny Ferry, which is dope. I like that. He's okay. I don't think he's worth this price point though, like $16.80. And we also got Jordan Farmar. Shout out to Jordan Farmar. He had a 42-inch vertical in real life, but for some reason they gave him a 30 driving dunk, and I believe his vertical is hella low too for no reason. 73 vertical. That's whack. Like, he had a 42-inch vertical. That's intense. But having him not dunk is honestly super disrespectful. None of these cards are particularly good, and if you're not going for the cooking set, you probably shouldn't pick them up. Like, Ray Allen has a little value, and LaFonso L is just fire for his price point, but the rest of these cards kind of suck. We're getting 3 more cards tomorrow as well. We're getting Emerald Seth Curry, who should be relatively good. As like a budget Emerald, I'm sure he'll be decent for like salary cap purposes. Sapphire Elton Brand, hell yeah. It's Sixers Elton Brand, which is like definitely the worst version of Elton Brand for sure, but it actually makes sense for like a Sapphire to be the worst possible version of that card. I think they need to do more of that, like scaling the gem tiers to like the worst possible version of that player. Like, this probably shouldn't be Nick Steve Novak, right? Like, Nick Steve Novak was arguably the best version of Steve Novak. Honestly, I can't think of another Steve Novak that there should be, but just a different one. I feel like he was on the Pelicans or something at one point. I don't know. I don't really want to look up his career right now. Jaden Ivey makes sense since he's young, I guess, but I feel like Marcus Camby was kind of fire on the Raptors. Nah, he might have actually been kind of trash on the Raptors. I'll have to look into his career. I'm actually not sure. Shout out to Jordan Farmar, though. Why does he look like Trae Young that grew up? Honestly, he does. Shout out to him for winning the Israeli National Cup, too. And then we got Ruby Chris Mullen. Ruby Chris Mullen should be fire. Honestly, depending on the jump shot, I actually think he'll just be like a better version of Kyle Korver. Like, Kyle Korver will have the better jump shot for sure, but he's going to be about the same size. He's more than likely going to be a little more athletic and definitely a better defender. So he should be good. I just don't know. I'm guessing he's going to be 70,000 on the dot. So, I mean, right there, that brings the total price from 51.8 with these cards to about 70. So that's like 130 basically. And then, yeah, roughly about 140 something, 150. So, reality of the situation, Curry is probably going to cost, if I had to guess, somewhere north of 500K MT at the absolute minimum. Because, I mean, we're only 3 days into it, and it's already about 150K MT, right? We haven't even got to the Amethyst yet. They're going to overload us with a couple more rubies, 1 or 2 more rubies. So that's an extra, like, 140K. Minimum 2 Amethyst, right? So that's an extra, 280? So, I mean, right there, that's an extra, like, 320, right? Or 420. Damn, that's an extra 420. Blaze it. So, I mean, he's going to be 500K. Should you actually log in for him? Or I said log in. Should you actually lock in for him? That is an excellent question. I mean, if you're an all money spent demon and you're trying to compete for whatever, because there's nothing to really compete for this year, then sure, he'll probably be a top tier point guard and at least run your bench unit for like the conceivable future, right? But if you're trying to use all your MT into locking in on Curry, I just don't think it's worth really using any massive quantities of MT until probably season 3 at the earliest, honestly. The reason I say that is just because I think cards are going to stay relevant for, probably 3 to 4 weeks for now. But I think once we get to season 2, In season 3, that's when the power scaling is going to start ramping up a little bit, and you'll start to see cards falling out of favor way, way faster. The first 2 seasons, usually cards hold value for a while. So, I mean, if you pick up Steph Curry now, he's probably going to be solid for you for like a couple months. Once we hit like October and November, it's usually November when this starts to happen. Then we start to see cards start flying out of people's lineups real quick, right? There's going to be your Tim Thomas level cards, your Kareems that are in there for quite a bit. But for the most part, cards that come out now will not be in your lineup come November. Like the last card that I remember people consistently using was probably Glitch Stockton, right, for that long. And like season 1 Steph Curry when so I mean you could make the analog here, but that was a level 40 reward, the first level 40 reward. So I don't know. I personally don't think, unless you're playing in like players lounge tournaments or doing anything of that nature, that it's worth logging in for, unless you're like a super heady Steph Curry fan. Then sure, and you got it like that, by all means. But you're going to be looking at least 500 to 600K, if not closer to $1 million at this stage, which no one has that much MT unless they've spent a bunch of money. So 2K knows exactly what they're doing. Kind of scummy. As always, it's been your friend Cheap Loots. Hey, I'll check you guys later. Sounded like Slater out here. Obviously, I've been talking for the last 4 hours on stream, so my brain is not functioning. I kind of need to decompress and watch some Narcos. I talked on stream for a while about how cool it would be to be a narco. I stand by that. I would like to be a friendly, cool narco, but a narco nonetheless. That would be pretty sick. So hope you guys have a good night, and I'll be back with more content tomorrow, man.